let's do one example with you also. Now, I want to create a class for a rectangle object, okay? So the thing that I should first ask to myself is that what properties does it have? If you need a rectangle class, length, good, and width, yes, probably for a 2D object, this 2 would be enough. And then what operations do you might need for a rectangle object?
Area?
Yeah, we may say maybe calculate area, for instance. Volume, yeah, if it is 3D, then we need one more attribute for the height, but yes.
Parameter?
What kind of parameter?
No, sorry, parameter. It's like the area.
Like the area, okay. Do you need any, okay, yeah, I'm just, I want to know what you're thinking. So, okay, yeah, we can have one calculate area,
Yeah.
in which we can calculate, width times length, one solution. So the other, do we need any more functions? We might need, by the way, I don't mean that this is one of the functions, of course we might need. But we will just think about these things, okay? And then, well, we can start implementing that. Like, again, public class, and then our name for this object is rectangle. You can say my rectangle, whatever name you need. And then width and height, or length, whatever name you want to give, for these 2 dimensions. And then maybe the compute area. If we need something more, maybe your rectangle is something else. It can maybe, I don't know, you want to enlarge it or shrink it. Maybe then you might want to put that kind of function. Now the good thing here is that I want to pass is that it's now based on our imagination. Like maybe you are playing a game in which the rectangle's size can change and then it can shrink and so on. Then you might need a function which will say, okay, I don't know, shrink the size and so on. So you can always define functions based on your needs. Then what will happen is, how can I use it? Well, in my another class app, so this is our main application class, and its main function, I first create a rectangle object. Rectangle R is equal to new rectangle. So I created the object. Then, well, this rectangle, what should it be? Its width, I want to set it to 5 and height to 7. How I do it, now this is again a different notation that we didn't see before. I'm saying R. What is R? R is my variable name. R dot width. What is width? Width is my attribute name, equals to 5. And also I'm doing the same thing for the height, 7. And then what I will do is, I want to calculate the area. How can I call this function, call this compute area function? I can do it again by using my attribute, r dot compute area. So it will return me 35, then I can print it. I want you to focus on this part, like calling those functions through the objects. Not, so I define this, okay, get area function, but I cannot run it as it is. I always need, for this function, I always need an instance of that object. I want to do this as an example. I hope you don't get discouraged by this, but yeah, Java has many details, many technical details, but no one for more than 6 or 7 years. I've taught it many times, so I hope we will manage it, no worries. So what I want to show is that, okay, let's do one example. Let's do it here. I'll go to my project, and then I'll go to my part, and then I want to add a class. So I'll just do a right click. Okay, my computer is a little bit slow. Yeah. Oh, what happened? Then I'll go to new, and then I'll hit the class. Okay. So my function name, my class name is rectangle, and then I'll hit finish for this, and then it creates this rectangle.java file. Now let me zoom in. I'll quickly write this. It was width, and then it was height, and then we had this function calculate area, and then basically I think it was returning a value, right? So yeah, it should return width times height. I need a space here. Yeah. Now I created my rectangle object. Now I'm going to my this main class that we had used in previous lectures, but I'm going to this main function. So note that now this is a different class. This is main.java. The other one is rectangle.java. So for each object, I'm actually creating a separate Java file, which also helps me actually. Like, think about that. You want to create, create the website for an Amazon. For each product, you need an object. Like you need 10,000s of objects maybe. It will be very complicated, but at least now they are all in a different file, so it is easier to manage that. So what I will do is I will create now a rectangle object, rectangle R is equal to new rectangle. So this will be my one of these rectangle objects, but I want to create two of them. So R1 and R2. For R1, I will say its width should be something, and its height should be, again, something. For the R2, maybe I'll say, okay, I need two rectangles now. And their sizes are different. Its width is this, and its height is something else. So they are different rectangles. I have two different rectangles. Then, for the calculate area, I can call it through this. Let me print it also. So I'll just write system.println. So R1 dot calculate area. So this is one for it. And for the other one, I'll say R2 dot area. So each of them has a different area size. So it should be different. And then I'll just hit the run and see the results. So the result is 50, 5 times 10, and 63, 7 times 9. So, but the thing is, now, sometimes this students might find it confusing. I define one function, but I always call them through an instance of an object. I have two different rectangles. Their sizes are different. Their attributes are different. So their status are actually different. So the result will be also different. But when I call it from R1, I get a different result. When I call it from R2, I get a different result. Do you have any questions so far? If not, then I'm moving on. All right, now we will dive into more details about the attributes. So what is an attribute? Well, it's the data that we store inside an object. Or we can say data members, instance variables. So it is like for a rectangle, height and width are actually the attributes that we use for it. And how we do it? Well, we define its type. The attributes can be a raw data type like int, float, boolean, and so on. Or it can be another object. Like in ActivityDir, I have, I don't know, a list of users. User is also a data type. So I can put also another object that I defined, and it can be an attribute of another user. And then it will have a name. And for this private, for now let's just see private. Okay, in the later sections we will see the other parts, but we are basically setting who can access this attribute. When we say private, it means that only people who has access to this Java file can access it. So we can only access, read, or write those data types within this Java file. So I created rectangle.java, and I can use this with an height there. But when I go to this main.java, I will not be able to reach those files. I will have more explanations for that. So why do we make it private? Let me first show it again from our application, what happens when we make it private. So you can see that here, I said that we don't, oh, sorry, you're not seeing it. This is main.java. And then I'm able to say that r1.width is equal to 5. Okay? So any person now, they are able to access this width value and height value. They can change it and so on. But this is somehow problematic. Why? Now I'll talk about this. For the rectangle part, well, if I allow everyone to change it, someone can also say -5. Any person. And why is the problem now? Again, our motivation. This is not a course project. We are trying to build an application in which teams of software developers will work on it. So maybe you are working on a project and then an intern comes in, okay? Or a very newly graduated software developer comes in, okay? Then he realizes, okay, he can access every attributes. And maybe you are setting the salaries of the person, okay, the salary. You created an employee object, and then one of the attributes is the salary. Now, you didn't give that person to, okay, don't work on this employee.java. You can only work on this another class file. But then he realized, okay, I can access all the things. I can, if he wants to give an harm intentionally or unintentionally, he can do it. He can create employees with salary minus values or 0 values. Even though maybe he doesn't have any bad intention, but maybe he tried to develop an algorithm but he has too many power to access the data, but I don't want it. Like, because let's say I'm the software developer team, I'll say that, okay, employee.java, you will work on this. And you will work on this product objects. And the person who has access to product file, don't access those variables in the employee. I don't want you to change that. So for that one I can do is, because you can make a mistake. Now I'm trying to organize things. What I will do is, instead of doing this, I will say, but then I can verbally warn them, okay, don't do it. If you do it, it will be a really big problem and so on. But people usually might not listen to that. They might just forget it. I don't want that kind of a management solution. I need a technical solution that will not allow them to use it. So what I'll do is, okay, I'll make it private. And I don't even now need to say you can access it or not. Because now when I go to this main.java, now I'm getting a compiler. So they will not able to access. I prevented them to access those variables. So now, well, we will of course find a different solution to do for this problem, but now they cannot change the values of the variables as they like. Now I prevented them to access those variables. This is why we use this private attribute.
So, what is the static variable?
That's a very good question. Need 2 minutes. I'll say it in the following lectures, but just a very brief answer for your curiosity. Yeah, that's a very good thing. I don't want to kill that. Static functions objects, you don't need to create it through as a new keyword. So you don't create it once you starts running the program. It's already uploaded in the memory, so that it's a static value. This might not make sense a lot for you, but you don't need to use this new keyword to create a static object, or you don't need to run a function, non-static function. You need to create an instance of that object first. But if it is static, you don't need it. This is just a short, brief answer, but we will see it inshallah in the following topics. Okay. One more question? Okay, it's 2:50, so I think I should stop here. Thank you for your attendance. This is the class for today.